Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Breeze Time with Kathy. It's good to see you again, to be able to be here on TV while you're watching me again. Well, it's the best I can do, but I'm so glad. You know, I've been reading, I think I've shared with you once before, from this little book that was a gift to me. Too Soon Old, Too Late Smart, 30 Things You Need to Know Now. Things he learned when he got older. Well, they're pretty just simple ideas, and I wanted to share with you chapter 20. It says, it's a poor idea to lie to oneself. I read that one last night and kind of got me. It kind of, right here, right between the eyes, dead on. Yep, it's a poor idea to lie to yourself. I tell myself I don't lie to myself, but that's not exactly true, so I suppose that means I'm lying to myself. I guess what it was that really hit me is, as many of you know, I've been a diabetic for years. And for the first 10 years I was diagnosed with diabetes, I was diet controlled. And then I did start on a low dose of metformin, and I was on that. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, I increased the dose of metformin, but it's still low, and I was still pretty well controlled by diet. But I have to admit that I continued to tell myself how well I was taking care of it. Now, the last couple of times my doctor does those A1Cs. They are a great technique that has been developed. You don't have to check your blood sugar every day. Because believe me, when I was a nurse in clinic over at down at Tulane University in medicine clinic, our patients would come in and they wouldn't eat for 24, they wouldn't eat for 18 hours before they came in to get their blood, to see the doctor and get their blood sugar checked. And as soon as they got out of there, they will have gained 10 pounds because they've been eating like crazy, and their blood sugars would be kind of close to normal. That's because they binged all the time and then starved themselves in 8 hours right before the test, and the blood sugar would be sort of down low, but that's not where it lived. And then somebody discovered what's called a hemoglobin A1C. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard of A1Cs if you have diabetes or know somebody who has diabetes. It should be under 7 for everybody. And I had kept it under 7 for a long time. Hemoglobin A1C is different, you see. Because what it does, it has a fancy way of measuring it that I won't go into explain. But what they do is, I will explain it. Every time your bone marrow releases a new baby, a newborn, a new developed red blood cell into the bloodstream, there's a moment where its outside wall is sticky. And right then, the percentage of sugar or glucose that attaches to it happens right then. And then it stays that way. So it's example, your blood sugar may fluctuate. Maybe a normal person's would be 80, 84, 92, 08 breakfast, 105, 76, 84. And it varies through the course of the day, but because your body's already, a body that works right is always putting out that insulin, sensing where your blood sugar is, putting out that insulin as your body needs, and keeping your blood sugar in that range somewhere between 80 and 120, no more than 120. And most people don't get symptoms of feeling a low blood sugar until they're below 70, in the low 70s or below. And high blood sugars you may never feel, but they still do their damage. But anyway, that sugar sticks there. So it's just as if so now that every red blood cell, if you look at the percentage of glucose stuck on red blood cells are great because they live for 90 days and then your body reabsorbs them. Okay, and all the time your bone marrow's turning out more. So it's like every second, those red blood cells, as they come out, they're taking a snapshot of your blood sugar. So, thing is about that, they draw your blood at the end of 3 months. Of course, the red blood cells that they have are going to vary in age from brand new blood cells, a day old, to ones that are close to 90 days old. But what it's done is that because of the way they're constantly being produced and constantly measuring the amount of sugar in your blood, that they basically, if you average the amount of sugar stuck to the outside of those, look at how much sugar is stuck to the outside of that red blood cell, and you average it out, then they know what your average blood sugar has been for the last 3 months. So it no longer works to starve you, to eat like crazy for 3 months and then starve yourself 8 hours before you go to the doctor, so that when he checks your blood sugar by pricking your finger, you look good. Doesn't work. It rats you out. Your own blood tells on you. Well, I had been keeping my blood sugar below 7, my A1C below 7 for the last several years. However, since COVID started, the last couple of times, 7.2, 7.4, my doctor said, we'll keep an eye on it. I was not due to have it drawn again for another month. But, with COVID, I have to admit, I've been more of a couch potato. What else is there to do? I have a real weakness for movie-sized boxes of Milk Duds. That's the only way you can get them these days, is in the movie-sized boxes, and they're so good. If I'm careful of that, they don't pull, a filling out or something, or I lose a crown. But I really have this weakness for Milk Duds. It's silly. I have Milk Duds and Milky Ways. Love them both. So I'd kind of give in to that every once in a while, and I thought I was getting by. And in essence, it's a poor idea to lie to oneself. Yeah, it is. I kept telling myself, I'm doing fine. I know it's crept up. Well, the doctor told me, we're going to test again. We were going to test again in about another month and see where my A1C was. And I have to admit, I haven't been careful. But I told myself I had it all under control. That was until last week. Last week, I didn't feel that good in the morning. And I, on a whim, decided to check my blood sugar. Oh! Shock. It was over 200 for a fasting blood sugar. That is so bad. Of course, I wanted to tell myself it was some kind of fluke. So I tested it several times, and I've been testing it every morning, and it's not a fluke, and I just got back from the doctor. And yes, I'm going to have to go get a new A1C drawn, and we'll see where we are, but I've had to increase my diabetes medication. Not unexpected. Every adult practically in my extended family, all my dad's brothers and sisters, all my mom's, well, not my mom, but my mom's grandparents, there's diabetes all over the place in my family, particularly on my father's side. I have a niece who's juvenile diabetic. My sister died at age of 53 from complications of adult onset diabetes type 2. My older sister Cindy, she died when she was in her 50s. So I should know to be careful. I shouldn't lie to myself just because I'm lazy and it's convenient. Because you know what happens? Lying to yourself didn't protect me from the fact that my blood sugar's out of control. So now I'm going to go get the lab work done tomorrow. I'm sure it's going to be high, but there's things to do about it. What happens with people with type 2 diabetes, the production of insulin drops and the body's resistance to insulin goes up, and somewhere in between, that's why it can't handle the sugar. You keep your glucose levels normal, your sugar levels normal in your blood, and that's when you start needing help. Diet, exercise, neither one of those I'm very good at, but medication. Even some people end up needing insulin, but I'm nowhere near that, my doctor said. It's kind of like a little small step in the progression of diabetes control. And considering that I'm 65 years old, it's not unexpected. No, lying to myself did not do me any good when it came to pretending my diabetes was not a problem, that I could ignore being diabetic, that I could get by with eating a box of candy here and doing this and doing that and overeating there and, whatever. Bad idea. But I have to admit that it's usually a bad idea to lie to yourself. There's been other things. I obviously lie to myself every time I look in a mirror to see when I'm getting dressed, because I look to see, okay, that looks good, and that looks good, and it's a full-length mirror, and I'm looking at myself, and my clothes look nice, my hair looks okay. By the way, I need a haircut badly. I hope to get one before I record next week, and and I think I look fine. I didn't think I lied to myself. However, I saw some pictures of myself that Donna in medical records took. I look like a little blimp. I didn't think I looked like that. How could I not see that I look like that when I look at the mirror at myself every day? It's amazing how we can lie to ourselves even when we don't even realize we're doing it. You see, that's what I think is wrong with the mirrors in dressing rooms. Why is it that when you went to try on new clothes, all of a sudden, I would find that everything made me look fatter? I think it was because it was when I'm trying on new clothes, I take a real honest look at myself in trying to judge the clothes, and I see the out-of-shape person that's underneath. Yeah, it's a struggle, and I know many of you faced it in your time, and lots of you have conquered it, and some of you are like me, continuing to struggle. And I'm sure we can attribute it to a lot of things. And I didn't really want to talk about weight. And my health is not a big concern. It's fine. I just have things I can do better with. And that's true. No, I was talking about it's a poor idea to lie to yourself. That's very true, I suppose, in most cases. However, I have seen a case or two when it was a positive thing. And it was my mother. And if there was anybody who could run contrary to what's sort of accepted general wisdom, it was my mother. You see, my mother was sensitive. But she was really a good-hearted person, and she loved people. So her problem was, I can remember one time the parish priest, Father Charlie, hurt Mama's feelings. He forgot to mention her about something or do something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but Mama's feelings got hurt. And she was waiting for him to apologize, and she wasn't talking to him because of it. And hold on a minute, I got somebody at the door. Sorry for the interruption. I was talking about my mother. Yes, Father Charlie had hurt her feelings, and she had resolved that nothing would do but for him to give her an apology, that they could just not mend their friendship until she had been apologized to. Now, the problem is I'm pretty sure that Charlie was completely clueless. Father Charlie had no clue he had offended my mother. He didn't think he'd done anything wrong. He treated her the same way every time he saw her. And my mother, though, had been aloof. Well, I guess she got tired of it after about 3 Sundays. Because finally, I was right there next to her. And Father Charlie comes over to talk to Mom, and he talks to her just as friendly as ever. And then, poof, off he goes. And, Mom did talk to him, though. I was surprised. She was quiet for the first minute or two, and then she just engaged in all kinds of conversation with him. And Charlie had walked away. Father Charlie walked away. She turns to me and says, "Well, you saw that, didn't you?" "Saw what, Mom?" "You saw how sheepish he was, how sorry he was, the way he talked to me. The poor man was trying to apologize. I guess some people but, I accept his apology. It was so well done." There was no apology. Not that I heard, not that I saw. But my mother, who was fond of Father Charlie and wanted to be back on good terms with him, had seen an apology. I suspect she lied to herself. But considering that it made her very happy, made Father Charlie, well, it didn't matter to him. He didn't know he was in the doghouse, so he didn't know he was out of the doghouse. But it was a way for my mother to continue to be on good relationship with other people, where if they couldn't bring themselves or even realize what they had done to offend her, and then she would imagine an apology so that she could forgive them. Yeah, we're such strange creatures, aren't we? I think that's why I like this little book of wisdom. Some of the chapters are hit home. Too Soon Old, Too Late Smart by Gordon Livingston, MD. He's a psychiatrist. Yeah. No. The lies we tell ourselves most of the time, they're not good for us. Once in a while, if it helps us put aside anger and put aside resentment and to let go of the past, I don't know. I suppose the ideal thing would be if we could just forgive them anyway. Of course, that's if we were perfect. For my mother, she was close. No, she wasn't. But we all have our faults. But it's what worked for her. Trying to find the times when we need to see clearly is tough, folks. But by the grace of God, we try to see the truth and not lie to ourselves, particularly about ourselves. So, until next time, God bless you.